The key to running fast races and winning is not by racing fast, but by racing smart. Let me explain. So first and foremost, going into every single competition, you obviously need to have a race plan. Not every single race plan is going to be executed, and not every single race plan is obviously going to go to plan. Each race is different, each scenario is different. Maybe somebody tripped, maybe somebody takes the race out quicker than expected, maybe somebody runs a PR, right? So many things and so many variables are moving when it comes to a track and field race, right? But by far the most important thing you have to remember in track is you have to be the smartest one in order to win your competitions, okay? There has been many races in my career that I have won where I was not supposed to win. One of my most notable memories of this example is at my first ever Big Ten championship back in 2023. And I go into this race, I think my PR before this was like a 148.9, right? And I'm racing a bunch of 147 guys, a bunch of 146 guys, and I was super nervous going in. I was like, dang, like these guys are really good, right? I'm looking at these heat sheets and all these guys are faster than me on paper, right? And that's another example too of just believing in yourself and not losing the race before it starts. Don't compare yourself to somebody before the race starts and be like, wow, I already lost, right? You can't do that to yourself. People have bad days. People don't show up to race day in the right mental state. Any given day, anybody can be beaten, and if that person is as good as they are on paper, they're gonna have to show you why on that day. But back to my point about racing smart, right? So I go into this race, bam, the gun goes off, and immediately, right, I get in super good positioning. I'm in about position 4 to 3, and I'm chilling right behind the group leader and then the guy following the group leader. And so we're going. 200 was nice, it was like 28 seconds. 400 was pretty slow, it was about 55 to 56 seconds. But then right when we hit about 500 meters, I just absolutely just took off because I was feeling so good. And when you take the race out super slow like that, you set up a chance for a kick at the end of the race, right? You set up a chance to have anybody win it, right? Just because you took it out slow. If they were to go out in 49 seconds, 50 point, I wouldn't have been able to hang on. But it's the fact that they let me in that race. They gave me the opportunity to potentially win that race within the first 400 meters. And so if I would have just said, screw it, I gunned it myself, I would have been the person getting caught, right? I would have been the rabbit, and I would have been the example made in that race. But it was a situational win, okay? It was a situational awareness thing. It was one of those things where it's like, this is the Big Ten championship, right? And if you want to try to win the finals, you're going to take the prelims out slow. You're going to run it strategical, right? Strategical and tactical are pretty much the same thing. It's where you take the race out slow, you get good positioning, and then you rely on your kick to win it. And obviously taking the race out aggressive or fast is obviously you just going out super fast the first 400 to 600 and hanging on, right? But I knew that this race was gonna be strategical. I knew it was gonna be tactic, and I knew that positioning was the very most important thing in this race. And so that's why I stayed in range, and 500 meters, 600 meters, I absolutely just sent it and nobody caught me, right? It was one of those things, right? Who has the best kick that day? And that day I had the best kick, right? And if it was any other race style, if it was any other day, I probably am losing that race and I'm not making those finals, okay? And then in the finals, I ended up losing because I tried to do the same thing I did in the prelims. I tried to take it from a tactical approach, a very slow approach in the first 400, and that absolutely cooked me because they took that race out honest. They took that race out fast. They opened up in like 51 seconds, and I was not used to opening up my first 400 at that time in 51 seconds. And so I ended up getting, I think, sixth or seventh place. I don't really remember. If you know how to race, you are going to be a very successful runner in the future, okay? Knowing when and how to race, it varies on different factors, right? What's the weather gonna be like? Who is in my heat? Where's the competition ran? What are the racing styles of my opponents, right? Many people, when they race me, they understand my style of racing. They understand that, okay, this guy has the capability of going out at 50 point in 51 seconds, okay? So he's probably gonna front run this thing. So I just gotta stay on his hip and pray I don't die, right? That's most of the time people's mentality when they're racing me, okay? Is he gonna hang on or is he gonna die, right? And that's the type of runner that you kind of have to be. You know, you want to be the type of runner where you're showing up to these competitions and you're having the other competitors, the other runners think, okay, how's this person going to take this race out? What are they going to do? What is going to be their strategy? You know, and you have to be so focused on yourself. You have to be focused on how your training has been going. You have to be focused on the type of race that you want to run, the type of runner that you want to be, right? Many people have different approaches when they run. Okay, for me, for example, I like to get out my first 200 quick, right? Other people, they like to open up the first 200 slow and then the next 200 fast for some reason, right? Or some people like to really send it between 400 and 550 meters, right? People kind of surge and move around at different points of their races. And so there's many different styles of how to race. And I'll just go over the quick 3 main styles that you could potentially race. I have a YouTube video on this, but I'll just say it again, okay? You can either go with the run and gun style, right? That is just absolutely go out there, balls to the wall, first 400 very fast, first 600 very fast, and hang on for your life, right? That's what I consider the run and gun. Another style is what I like to call the sit and kick. The sit and kick is where you get out your first 400 and 600 very slow, very tactically, and this one is all about positioning, and this one is all about utilizing your kick those last 150 meters of your 800 meter race. And obviously we have the third method, which obviously is the best method. It is called the maintain and gain method. It's where you get out at an honest, respectable pace. So for me, for example, being a 146, 147 runner, I like to get out between 52 to 53 seconds. I like to come across 600 in about 119 to 120, even sometimes 118 seconds, and then utilize those last 150 meters and kick with all the energy that I have left. But it's one of those things where it's like each step into the ground, I'm propelling myself forward. My form is staying true. I'm not zigzagging too much throughout this race. I'm saving as much energy and I'm saving as much space as I possibly can. You know, I'm not running this race in lane 2. I'm not running this race in lane 3. I'm staying in lane 1. I'm sticking to somebody who's in my range, who's in my pace range, and then I'm going. Another really good example of running your own race would be to not depend on somebody to run a certain style of racing. Like, for example, what if there was let's call it a race where the winner should have ran like a 149 or 150, right? Let's say there's this guy who's in your conference who's really good and you're depending on that guy to run a 149 or 150. And so you say to yourself before the race, okay, I'm gonna stick to this person before the race. I'm gonna do exactly what they do. I'm gonna sit on their hip and then I'm gonna kick on in the last 100 meters, right? Bam, the race goes off, you find that person, and that person goes to the back of the pack. Well, what do? You told yourself before the race, you're gonna stick to them, right? So you go to the back of the pack, you stick to that person, you're in last place, you try to kick at 600 meters, you maybe pass a few people and bam, you place 5th, you place 6th. And you're like, dang, I had so much energy left in the tank, but I wasted my opportunity because I was relying on somebody running this time. I was banking that this person was gonna open up this fast and run this time to help me run that time, and they don't do it, right? So it's one of those things, it's situational awareness. Let's say, okay, I'm banking on this person running the race from the front and winning it, and immediately they go to the back. If you're in that situation, your mindset has to be, oh, screw that, I'm going to the 3rd position, I'm going to the 2nd position, forget that person, right? You literally have to think on the spot. That's what it's like being a smart racer. Maybe you're not in the best shape, maybe you're not the best person in the race, but if you race the absolute smartest, you are gonna find so much success in the 800 meter run because it's honestly such a tactical race. It's one of those races where it's not the 400 where you have your lane, it's not the 200 where you have your lanes or anything like that, right? It's the first race where it's basically like a free roam. It's the first race where you break in, right? There's no other races that break in besides anything more than 800 meters, right? And so it's just one of those things where it's like you have to put yourself in the best situation possible to succeed, right? And when it comes to spatial awareness, right, there's times you're gonna get surrounded by people who throw elbows. There's times you're gonna get tripped up. There's times that you're gonna get kicked, right? And the best thing you can do is try to avoid all of that nonsense, right? If you notice somebody's kind of getting physical right in front of you, right? What if I'm running behind 2 people and they're like bumping and shoving and blah, blah, blah. I'm either gonna take off the gas to let them figure that out and then find an opening to go, or I'm immediately gonna just zoom past them so that I don't get caught up in whatever it is that they got going on in that race. Because things happen, you know, people trip, people fall, people get mad because they get pushed. Stupid things happen in the 800 meter run, and that's just normal. That's all part of the game. But you literally just have to make quick, on the spot decisions. You have to decide, do I go or do I sit? Do I go around this person or do I stay by this person, right? Everything happens so fast in the 800 meter run, and energy is absolutely finite. Your energy is literally going like this your entire 800 meter run. It's depleting. So you have to make sure that you use your energy super efficiently when you're racing the 800 meter run. The takeaway from this video is that don't rely too heavily on your race strategy. If you're banking on somebody running a time, remember that things change, things happen. You have to think on the spot. You have to commit to things on the spot. If you tell yourself you want to go to the front of the pack, you have to go to the front of the pack, because opportunities come and go just like that in the 800 meter run. Good luck with your training and good luck this upcoming season with the 800 meter run.